So, I did see it. What's going on there, YouTube? This is SCL0320. I'm back for a brand new movie review. This is an actual early screener for the movie The Gallows. Okay, so y'all saw my reaction video. I don't know if you saw it earlier this morning or last night. I can't remember when I actually did upload it. But let me read the synopsis so you can kind of get a comprehension of it. 20 years after a horrific accident during a small town school play, students of the high school resurrect the failed show in a misguided attempt to honor the anniversary of the tragedy, but soon discover that some things are better left alone. That's the best synopsis that I think IMDb has ever given. So, The Gallows, I was, like I said before, I was not going to watch it because of a lot of people making fun of the Charlie jokes and talking about stuff moving. Like, I don't play when it comes to like demonic oriented things or any kind of spiritual influence things that, in my opinion, have a negative connotation or at the same time might have weight and gravity to them. Like I said in my review before, you can talk, you can listen, and I can tell you a little bit more about that in there. If you want to check out my reaction to The Gallows trailer #1, I can explain it. But yeah, I don't mess with stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Even though I appreciated movies like Insidious, I appreciate movies like The Conjuring, even like Paranormal Activity. Like, I was a huge advocate for that. And actually, the Insidious and Paranormal Activity, it was the same producers that actually helped elevate this movie to the success that it's going to be. I can go ahead and say that off the gate. So, looking at it visually and audio-wise, they did a lot of smart things with the camera work in this one. Without spoiling too much, when somebody is using a camera, they switch between different cameras. I think, what was that movie? Into the Storm did a good job of that, of having like multiple different cameras that had multiple different perspectives. And in this movie, this happens a lot because you're thinking in the beginning of this episode it's just going to be centered on just one person, that's the camera guy. Don't invest in that because you're going to see things that go from different points of view, and how smart that some of the deaths that happen in this that you won't expect to. Normally in a regular scary movie, you have somebody die and then that's it, they're just dead. You don't see that, like, what happened. You kind of get it from your standpoint. But in this one, you actually kind of get to see a reverse back of like what exactly happened. And that is kind of one of the weighted things about the scary moments about this, that actually has like this real suspense kind of feel to it. Because when something's happening, when it's going down, it kind of feels like Paranormal Activity all over again. It kind of feels like The Conjuring already did this or whatnot. But as far as how they shoot it and how smart they do it, it's kind of believable in a sense, but it doesn't feel like they don't even present and say like this is based on true events or anything like that. It's just meant for a suspense thriller related crowd. And they do a good job with that. They do a really good job with that, especially with being like in a high school setting and they're setting up like a school play. And I think that everybody plays off of that part really well. When there are scenes of deaths and when there are scenes of like suspense and huge suspense, one of the things that help with the visuals is the actors. The actors do a great job of shining when there are scary moments, when there are cues or stuff going on. And I think they did a really good job of kind of making it more so believable. I think towards the very end, it got a little cliche, but at the same time, like, I love the movie. I keep forgetting it. Oh my gosh. I've been talking about it all night. but I can't believe I forgot about it. But anyway, I will say that they did a great job with, as far as the visuals is concerned, with the camera angles, and it was really smart how they actually did it. So I give that maybe like an 8 out of 10. But I have seen better. I've seen a lot better. But for what this was, it wasn't supposed to be full HD. It wasn't supposed to be full great quality. It's supposed to be just kind of how the angles of the cameras are what they actually have. Not just that, every camera nowadays like have at least 720p or a 1080 output. That's with the camera phones alone. And one of the things about this movie also, and I'm going to go into the acting in a second, is that this was shot in pitch black. Most of the time in the movie, I was like, why are y'all in this building, you know? So as far as the acting is concerned, one of the things that I know is good about this movie is I remember the actors' names. And I remember the characters' names. And that might be because the actors' names are the characters' names, which is really smart. So I remember Reese was the main character. I remember his friend Ryan, he was one of the kind of the side characters. I remember Cassidy, I remember Pfeiffer. Reese is a character basically that is kind of like in the play, you know, and he's kind of like doing it for certain reasons that I'm not going to disclose. Pfeiffer is kind of like the lead actress in the play. Then Cassidy and Ryan are just really friends of Reese, you know, and they kind of well, in my opinion, Ryan kind of provokes something to happen where they have to go into the building later on. But from that point on, it's really, before this ever happened, it was really like, to me, I was kind of narrated by Ryan. Like, I was looking from Ryan's perspective, like what he thinks about Reese, what he thinks about the play, what he thinks about this. It kind of runs him off as a douchebag, you know. But because he runs off as a douchebag that, in my opinion, has a heart, and I see that he kind of cares about Cassie, I see he kind of cares about Reese, and I see that he just has a different way of going about things. I was kind of invested in him, you know, and that is not smart for this movie. I'm just gonna let you know off the gate. But they do a good job of making them believable characters. Like, I've never been in a movie that I can immediately came out and I was like, I remember every single actor's name and I remember every single character's name, especially the character's name, because I was like these are no-name actors, but because they said each other's names enough, and when the situation did come up, I was like, oh flip, where's Reset? You know, like, and that's good. That's really good, because there were times where I was like, man, whoa, flip, what's going on? And I could have easily jumped ship and just kind of focused on one main character, and that wasn't the case in this one. What I will say that they maybe messed up on was making more of a weight of the other characters in this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 other characters that mean a lot in this. And I think that they wanted to kind of add mystery. Like most scary movies, they try to like play back on small subtle notes. And one of the things I will say that, like, Melvin Candela, he wanted to really be a part of this review, but he really had to get sleep. He has to go get up for work in the morning just like I do, but he really is having problems sleeping, so like he's not going to be able to be a part of this review. Maybe if y'all would like, if you leave in the comment section below, we can do a full spoiler review and we'll release that out on Friday. Like, the movies will be officially coming out on the 10th, which is tomorrow or Thursday, and it's going to be actually out on Friday, of course. But yeah, maybe we can do a spoiler review later on it. But one of the things that he has said is that he appreciated how dedicated the actors kind of work with these, and I think I agree with them. I think that they felt with real full dedication with it, but there were certain small things in the story that left open, like, okay, this isn't right, and maybe they did that intentionally. And that's kind of the cliche of most scary movies, like you can figure out the movie like within about 30 minutes being in, and that's kind of like one of the same things that kind of happens in this one. But the acting was actually done really well. I enjoyed the small cast. I remember their names, so they must have been doing something right. So I give them a 7.5 out of 10 as far as the acting is concerned. And then the story was actually a really genuine story. It kind of had this feeling of The Conjuring, and at the same exact time, this kind of feeling of Paranormal Activity for sure. When there were certain things that happened, like stuff moving and stuff like that, I was like, this is so feeling like Paranormal Activity. But because the characters were funny and because the characters were flawed, you know, like they weren't just making stupid decisions to make stupid decisions, like they were just put in a bad scenario. I think one of the movies that I seen a long time ago, it was kind of cheesy. I don't know if it was called The Ghost, what was it Paranormal something. It wasn't Paranormal Activity, it was Paranormal something. And it was done really well. It kind of felt like this. From my understanding with this movie, it got made back in 2012, and then they added an extra budget to it, kind of like Paranormal Activity. And they eventually kind of added more scenes to it, juiced it up, and then they now are releasing it out to the mass public. And so that I guess it did feel like it was kind of like an older movie. Based on how they kind of did the story that certain kind of way. It's like, man, this has been redone before, you know, but maybe this is actually one of the first ones that kind of like took off right after the 2009 version of Paranormal Activity. It's like, okay, I want to do something different, but I want to add weight to the decisions that the characters are making, and especially there is a lot of weight with the decisions of them even going into this location for the reasons why they do. And the whole play itself, like the tragedy that does happen, it was pretty messed up, but I think what's more messed up is how they actually got the history of it, because while they're stuck in there, that's when they find out. And how it happens, it unfolds pretty well. It's pretty epic how they actually did that. As far as the content and the weight and stuff like that, they don't go and draw too much on the origins of some of this stuff, like why it's happening. I think you don't find out until like the very end, like how some of this stuff is actually happening. But when it does hit, like you're left with a lot, and there are seriously a lot of jump moments. Like there are times where I'm looking at the character, I'm like, why did you do this? Why did you abandon this character? Why are you running at this point? And that's all good storytelling. Like, I mean, if everybody kind of stuck together, that would make for a good movie though, honestly. Because if you look at The Descent had these females that were trapped in these caves, they were doing spelunking, and they have to fight off everything that's in there, and they have to be fought off while they're in a group versus being picked off one by one. And that makes, in my opinion, for a lot better story. And that would have been cool with this one, but because they're college students, they don't know how to defend themselves, they don't know what's actually attacking them. Not just that, there's not necessarily a way of being able to avoid these situations that are happening. Then, I mean, it's like it's given the circumstances that they help. But as far as the story is concerned, it was a pretty decent story. I didn't see it having too many faults other than it was a lot of predictable moments, and it was kind of like a movie that I kind of like felt like I had seen already. But that doesn't take away from those that are scary movie fans or horror fans. Like, you will enjoy this. It is a decent thriller. It's not necessarily a scary movie. I don't know when the last time I actually had a movie that really scared me. There were times I was definitely going into the theater and I was like, man, wow, I'm just sitting there just like this. Or I was like, man, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. You know, I was like, I was going all over the place at points. I definitely have my heart pumping. And so that is something, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was real suspense there, and there was real gravity and weight. When stuff were happening, I was like, man, there's no way, they're screwed. And then there are some things that do surprise you. If you pay attention though to the beginning, you will catch it. But if not, like, you will not catch it, you know? And that might be part of the beauty of this. So I guess I give The Gallows, as far as the story is concerned, I give it a 7 out of 10. So all in all, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was a decent horror flick. It wasn't like really bad. Like I said, I don't play when it comes to like demonic things. And the same exact time, even when I got out, I was like, man, like this is a little bit, you know, I'm gonna go look at some nice stuff, some positive stuff and reinforcement. But me and Melvin did enjoy the movie, so hopefully you actually enjoyed this non-spoiler review for The Gallows. And thank you again, the City Vault, DC, for providing us with the early screeners to be able to see The Gallows 2015. So without further ado, this is the review. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Please leave your comments in the comment section below if you did. Leave a like if you actually did like this early review for The Gallows. And definitely go check it out, I guess, on the 10th if you're intrigued by this. Some people are going to really like this movie and might find it like kind of a cult following. Some people are going to be like, man, this is trash, I've seen this already. And I can see where it could go either way with this one. But yeah, thanks everybody that's been subscribing. I think we're at 2750 right now. That's amazing. So we're getting close to 3,000 subscribers. Again, when the 3,000 subscribers, we finally do hit that, that is when we're going to have the brand new giveaway for our brand new game. So yeah, thanks everybody. This is SCL0320, soon to be the brand new channel name JVS. Later everybody.